Welcome to my channel. Today I am going to show you how to alter images on your skins, on your liveries. Now in this case I'm going to change some of the designs. This is WKRP. I'm not sure where this news channel is, but the one where I'm at in Texas, it would be KPRC, which would be the NBC affiliate, and it is channel 2, not channel 10. So I'm going to change that to a 2. I'm going to change this to a 2, and then of course there's some other things that I'm going to add just to make it a little bit more Texan. So again, we are going to learn today how to alter these images that were uploaded to the DCS user files. Let me show you where that's at. Actually, this is where we're at. It would be in here. This particular one, the WKRP, this one was uploaded by DishDoggie. He's got some great stuff on here that you can download. Now, notice that he says do not redistribute. That means that you can alter it for your personal use, but you cannot alter it and then upload it as if it's your work or anything of that nature. So the idea is you can alter it for your personal use. I'm a content creator. I love showing the outside of my aircraft. And I notice that a lot of you guys do too in your stills. If it's not a video, it's a still. So this would be a good way for you to kind of personalize your aircraft. You can put logo. Well, you'll see that you can either put logos on it, you can write on them, you can change colors. It's pretty much open to whatever you want to do. And at some point, if you wanted to create your own skins, I'm sure there's a software that's out there that would allow you, or that you could learn how to do it to change the skins. So in this case, again, we are going to download this file here. So I have already put it into my folder. So I would hit download. It would show up on my download folder here. And we have to unzip it. So you have to make sure that you have an unzip program. Now I use bzip to unzip my files. So let's open that one. This is the B, this is what it is. I use the free version because I don't use it that often. So here's the folder. Now what we need to do is we need to take this folder and we need to drop it in our liveries folder. So first thing you do is you got to go to your, wherever you have that user file or user folder. Mine happens to be in my second disk D drive. It's this one right here. So I double click on it and there's me, and then there's the saved games. This is the direction you want to go in. You're going to open DCS open beta, navigate down to your liveries. Now if you don't have a liveries folder, you'd have to create one right here in this particular layout. You need to make sure that you spell it correctly and you spell it with the capitals and the lowercase. Everything needs to be exactly like this. This is where I store the liveries for all the aircraft that I have. In this case, we are working with the UH-1. And again, if you don't have this folder in your liveries folder, you'll need to create it, and it needs to look just like that. So we are going to open this one. This I do not have in there. I'm going to grab it and just drag it into, wait a minute, before I do that, let me position it where I can drag it right into the open liveries folder for the UH-1. Okay, so there's the folder. Let's get rid of this thing, and let's get rid of that thing, and we can close that. All right, so there's my folder. Let me open that up, and these are all the files that came within that that livery, that skin. What we're going to adjust is we're going to add graphics to it. So what we need to do is we need to open, in this case, I think we're going to open the front section first. In this, on this particular file, this is where it's at. You can tell by the icons. You can tell by the icons. You see the images in there. So we're going to start right over here. Now these are DDS files, so you're going to have either Photoshop or GIMP that has the DDS plugin exporter file or plugin. Now you can find that through, if you watch some of my other videos, the other 2 videos that go along with this graphic, AI graphic customization design thing that I'm doing, in there I show you where that's at. And I'll put a link in the details as well for it. Okay, so here is the skin. As you can see, it doesn't necessarily make a lot of sense. So what we're going to do, now I'm in Photoshop, that's what I prefer to use. So I'm going to use my magnifying tool. You can get to that if you're not familiar with Photoshop by hitting the Z key, or you can hit the magnifying glass here. So what we're going to do is we're going to change these. We're going to change this from the 10 to a 2, and we are also going to change this WKRP to KPRC. So I'm going to do that there. I'm going to do that here as well. Anywhere those logos and tags are at, I'm going to have to change them. And you can see here they're upside down because it's the other end of the skin. So it is somewhat confusing, so make sure that you're paying attention. So as you can see, here is the bottom, I believe, of the aircraft. Actually, that's the top. This is the top section of the aircraft. This is the left part of it on the port side. This is the starboard side, the right side of it. So you can see here, this is the right side up. Over here, it's upside down. So we're going to have to invert that logo. So first things first, let's jump in here. And I think I'm going to start by just changing that 10 to a 2. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my stamp tool, and I'm going to convert this. I'm going to get rid of this 10 by copying and pasting this red image all the way around. I'm going to fill that in all red, and then I'm going to come and put my number 2 because the NBC affiliate where I live in Texas would be number 2 in my city. So what we're going to do is create a new layer. We're going to hit this plus at the very bottom. It's going to create a new layer. I'm going to hit the T, which is the text tool. I'm going to put it right there, and I'm going to type a 2. Now I do this now so that I can line it up. Now we want that to be white. We're going to make it white, and then I need to make it huge so that it fits that area. And of course that's too big. It's probably going to be 150. It doesn't have to be exact, and I think that the icon I want to go, or the font I want to go with, is just something that's bold. Doesn't have to be fancy. We'll go with that. And I'm going to hit, oops. Let's go with the 2. And then I'm going to accept that. And I'm going to hit the V key. And the V is my move tool. So I'm going to put it right about there. Now, as you can see, it's a little bit too small. So let me see if I can make it a touch bigger. I double click it, and then I'm going to say that it needs to be about 160 pixels. Maybe 170 pixels. Now again, you can use this with logos, your own graphics that you want to add in there. It's really up to you. For the sake of this demonstration, I'm just going to do it this way. So I put that there again so that I can line up and make sure that my font is the same size. Everything is, all lines up like the original one. Now I'm going to turn it off. Now that I have it lined up, I'm going to turn it off so that I can copy and paste this number 10 away. Again, I'm going to my stamp tool. So I hit the S. I have to make sure that I'm on the correct layer, which is the original decompressed image. And I'm going to say I want to copy this area over this area. I'm going to hide that 10. You do that by going to your stamp tool. If I hit the Alt key, see how it turns my cursor into a bullseye? I'm telling the Photoshop that I want to copy this. Now I hit my left mouse button. Now that it's the bullseye, I hit my left mouse button, and that tells it, okay, that's what we're going to copy. And where do you want me to put it? We're going to put it right over there. So as you can see, it's copying and pasting it. And what I'm doing is with my left mouse button, let me grab another section. I want to copy that section. And then I'm just going to copy over that 10 by hitting my left mouse button. Now, it's not going to be perfect because I'm not necessarily trying to make it perfect. So let me just grab some new areas. Now, what I like to do on these lines is I'll grab it right there, and then you'll see that it's got that same line, and I just kind of line it up the best I can. It doesn't have to be perfect because it's going to be, oops, I'm grabbing too much now, because it's going to be covered up anyway, and no one's really going to see it that tight. And then I'm going to grab over here, and let me do this to this. And again, I'm just copying and pasting this. I'm going to grab that little section right there. And I'm just going to copy. I don't like, let's make that brush size a little bit smaller so that I don't grab too much. Okay, I'm liking that. Let's make it smaller. All right, I'm liking that. I don't want to grab that line, is what I'm trying to avoid. Okay, so that's what I want. And let's get rid of that now. Again, I'm going to stamp tool that piece right there. And you see I'm just following that line up. Trying to keep it as straight as possible. And now this I'm not too worried about because I'm going to come back and eliminate. Damn. I'm not too worried about this section here because I'm going to come back and eliminate it like that. All right, so I'm going to grab this area. And I'm not really worried about the screws on this thing, but it's kind of cool when I can match those screws up. But again, no one's really going to see it. I just want that 10 to be gone. And again, that number 2 is going to go over this, so it's not that critical that everything is 100% perfect in here. I just try to get it close. All right, we'll eliminate that, and then I'm going to hit this line, proceed on to this. It's a little bit off, but you know, again, no one's really going to know. No one's going to be paying attention. All right, close enough. Okay, now I'm going to turn on that layer again, and there's my number 2. Now you can see that it's a little bit hot. It's hotter than this white over here. So what I'm going to do, what I'm thinking I'm going to do is with that layer selected, I'm going to lower the opacity of it, and it should make it look a little bit more worn in, kind of weathered, and you can see underneath where all the bolts and things are going to be at. Let's make it 60 and call it good. Let's see, 60. I like that. Let's zoom out and take a look. Yeah, I like that. Okay, that's what we're going to do there. Now, while I'm here, let me just go ahead and flip it and put it right there over that one. There's several ways you can do it. You can select that, right mouse click it, and then duplicate layer. And it's going to say, yes, we want it to say to copy, sure. So that's that layer. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take that layer. Let me get to my move tool, which is the V. And I'm going to make sure that I'm grabbing that one. And I'm going to move it. I'm just grabbing it and dragging it up. Let me get rid of that. And I'm going to put it right here. Now I need to flip it. So I need to go to my transform tool. That is Shift T. Actually, I'm sorry. No, it's Control T. And then I'm going to spin it like that. And as you can see, I need it to be 180 degrees. That's close enough. And then I'm going to just kind of line it up right in the middle of that 10, which is right about there. All right, so now that we have that, I need to come up here and remove that 10 underneath that one as well. I'm going to turn that off so that I can see it here. And let's get the stamp tool. There's my stamp tool. Oops, wait a minute. I got to go back. Select the original layer. Go to my S for the stamp tool. And I'm going to zoom in. Let me zoom in first. There we go. And then the stamp tool. And I'm going to just, again, get rid of this number. Now, you can play with this all day long. You can make it as fancy, as clean, or however you want to do it. For the sake of this lesson, I'm just going to rush through it. I'm not really worried too much. Nobody's really going to be able to see all the little nuances of this thing. Close enough. Okay, now I'm going to turn that number 2 on, and there's the number 2. And again, it is at 100%. It is 60% opacity. Let me see if I can bring it down just a little bit so it looks a little bit dingier like that. And there's other ways you can make it look dingier if you wanted. I'm not going to worry about that at the moment. All right, so there's that. And there's the other one. And then, of course, I'm going to do all these others. While we're here, let me change this WKRP to KPRC. And first thing I'm going to do then is I want to get my text tool. I'm going to put it there, and I'm going to say KPRC. And that's exactly the logo they use, I believe. So there we have that. Now you can see that it's about the right width, but it's a little bit too tall. So I'm going to use my my Control T, my transform tool, and then I'm just going to shove it down a bit to make it fit a little bit better. All right, about there. That's pretty close. I'm liking that. So we're going to do that, and then I'm going to turn that one off again, and I'm going to copy and paste. Let's see. I'm going to go to the original layer. Let me zoom in. And then I'm just going to remove this stamp tool. Let me make my thing much bigger so I can move a little faster. Stamp tool, close that. All right, now we're gonna grab and paste this, and I'm just gonna do this with it. Okay, I like that. And then there's the KPRC. Now it's too hot, so we're gonna bring it down. I think about 60. Oops, let's get out of that. Let's make that about 60. Damn it, what are you trying to do? What you doing? Oops, I see what I was doing. I was on the wrong layer. Okay, so now it's too hot, so let's bring it down. Let's make sure that we're on that layer, and then let's make this opacity 60. We're actually going to probably have to go a little bit darker than that. And you know what? We can change the color of that. Watch this. I select that, and then I want it to be this shade right down here. So I'm going to select my color palette, hit this little eyedropper. Where's that eyedropper? Well, actually, I already have the eyedropper. There's the eyedropper, and I'm going to say I want it to be that color. So then it should match. And if I take that, now I'm going to go back to 100% opacity. Oops, wrong one. My bad. And this one needs to be 60. Okay, so again, I'm going to match this color. Now that we have that, I'm going to go back and put this back to 100. So it ought to match it even better. Yeah, it's not quite as weathered as the other one, but it's pretty close. Let's take a look. Let's zoom out a bit. Look at that. Pretty darn good. I like that. And I can actually do the same thing here with this one. This one. If I do that, I'm going to say, all right, that color, I want it to be this shade of whatever that is. So let's do that, and then let's pull this back up to 100%. So now it matches, and then let's do the same thing right here on this one. And color choice is going to be that one. And let's make that back to 100%. Okay, so there's that. So as you can see, it's very simple to do. KPRC, there's the two news. Now I'm going to continue on and do that on the others as well. Okay, now that we've got them all done, there's the KPRC, there's the two. Let me just scroll through this one. You can see all of them are there. There's the two. These I had to flip. I had to invert because that's on the other side of the aircraft. So as you can see, those are all there. All right, so we're going to save this one. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. First, we have to compress this down. As you can see, it's got all these layers. Well, in order to have a DDS file, it has to be one. So we are going to come up here to layers and come all the way down where it says flatten image. We're going to flatten the image, and you see now that it's one. Now at this point, do not do anything with Photoshop. Do not close it. Do not adjust it any at all. Because what happens is when we open DCS, and if something is wrong with what we've done, or maybe the graphics are crooked or something shows up weird, we can come back to Photoshop and then undo what we've just done, and then we can be more specific on which element we need to fix. Okay, so now that that's done, we're going to save as, and it's going to say this is the original file. We're going to keep that file name, and it's a DDS file, which is what we want, and this is still the same folder. So we're going to save it. Now it's going to ask me, do I want to replace it because it already exists? Yes, we want to replace it because we do want it to overwrite the one that's already there. Okay, so that takes care of the front part of the aircraft. Now we need to open the back end of the aircraft. So let me navigate over to the back end. And this is liveries, Huey, and then that one is the KP, this one. All right, so we did the front end. Now we need to do the back end. So that's the one I can see in the pictures there that it's the back end. And here's your back end. So there's your front end of the aircraft. Here's your back end. Now again, this is the tail end. This is the wing, the vertical stabilizer here in the back. I guess that's what it's called on a helicopter, or rotor tail. Maybe that's it. So let's zoom in here. I need to change. I'm going to change that 10 to a 2. Change that to read KPRC, and then I'm also going to right here. I'm going to write something in. And because I'm from Texas, I wanted to say, don't mess with Texas. All right, so we're going to say that. And I'm okay with that color. Let's make sure that it matches that color right there. We come up here, we get the little eyedropper. We say that's the color white we want. So we select that and then we hit OK. And now that turns to be that color. Now you can see it's skewed. It's not set right. So what we need to do is, oops, we need to go to that layer, go to Control T, which is free transform. And then we're going to just kind of level it up, make it level with that. Let me just kind of get it there. And I just kind of want it to be right about there. Let's see, if I squint my eyes, I can kind of tell that that's about where I want it. Let me bump it that way just a bit. All right, I like that. So now that we have that, I mean, it's probably a little bit too high. Let me bring that down a bit. Maybe there. All right, and what I want to do is obviously I've got to do it on the other side of the tail. So I'm going to drag it down into the plus, and then it's going to create a duplicate. This one says copy. So it's upside. It's here on the bottom, so I need to move it up there, and it needs to be inverted. So I'm going to hit Control T. It needs to be flipped rather, not inverted. It needs to be like that. Now now if you see how you get those little pink lines? If I line that up, it's telling me that this is lined up exactly where it is over here, and I do want it to look consistent on both ends. So I'm going to go by that line, but I also want it to be level. So we're just going to tweak it. I'm going to use the bottom of those numbers to kind of eyeball it there, and then I'm going to use my arrow keys just to move it up a bit. And that looks like that's about the same distance from the other one. So I like that. Don't mess with Texas. Don't mess with Texas. All right, I like that. So let me come up here and I'm going to adjust these, and then I'll show you what it looks like at the end. Okay, now that we've got that done, let's take a look at it. Let me zoom out. So we have the don't mess with Texas that I added. I fixed the number 2, and I put KPRC. And that's everything. And you can see here, there's all the parts that go to the aircraft on this tail section. So if you wanted to adjust things or change colors of things, you could actually do them here if you can decipher what the hell the image is. So now that we have it, again, we have all these layers that we need to merge down to 1. So I'm going to go to flatten image. There we go. Now it's down to 1. Now I can save it as a DDS file. I'm going to go to save as. And again, we're going to keep the same name. We do not want to change it. It is going to save it as a DDS file. Yes, we do want it to replace it. And I'm going to hit save. So there's that. All right, now let's go to DCS and see what we did. All right, so now that we're in DCS, here is the adjustments that we made. We added the don't mess with Texas. We changed that 10 to a 2. We changed that to read KPRC. And then here it is on the back end, KPRC, number 2. Don't mess with Texas on that end. There's the number 2, KPRC up on top. Looking pretty sharp. There it is in the front. Man, that came out nice. So that is exactly how you do it. I'm sure there's other ways if you wanted to do it. And again, you can add your own logos if you want to customize these things. A lot of times I'll come in here and I'll put my name down as the pilot right here above the, right underneath the window. So lots of little things you can do. As you can see, DishDoggie put the Sylvester Stallone and Schwarzenegger as the pilots. I'll probably go in there and change those. Those are cool. And in my other videos, I've shown you how to do that. So I hope you've enjoyed it. If nothing else, maybe you got a little bit of information on what you can do, how you can do it, and if nothing else, you got some new ideas. If you liked it, like this video, please like, share, subscribe, and if you'd like to buy me a beer or a cup of coffee, there is a link down in the details to make a donation. And again, man, I appreciate it. You guys have an awesome day. See ya.